So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to the Cert3
Yeah.
Fitness on Google here. It should look something like this, okay?
Yeah.
What we're going to start on is obviously Workshop 1A. So just click on your Workshop 1A, and I'll just show you a few things, sort of how these workshops are set up, okay? So let me find, like I said, I don't have you on my list just yet, so I won't be able to watch you fill everything in real time, but that's okay for today. All right, so if you can see here, for every module, there's going to be tutor notes. So that's kind of what I'll put up, and that's what we'll go through. There's a module mentor video, okay, and that's important. So there's a video kind of for each module, right? And then can you see over here how there's the takeaways, 1A takeaways there?
Yeah.
Do you have that on your screen?
I've done those. Well? Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so
for 1A.
Awesome. So Leon's explained that to you. So the concept is every time there's a video, what you want to do is read that video, watch that video, get about, don't have to be 20, maybe 15 or so plus takeaways, just little sentences on things that you've learned from that video. Okay. Yeah. That's really important. I'll leave you to do all of those. Okay. So it's not really worth it us just sitting here and watching a video together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So make sure you do those on your own time. Okay. You can see down there's guided reading. So guided reading is just a little bit of more information. So when you're maybe doing some of these modules by yourself, you might use those guided readings. Okay. Yeah. And then obviously the important thing for you there is the assessment. Okay. Yeah. So that's the assessment. That's what you'll be going through. That's what where you'll be the questions. When you've completed that assessment, Lexi, and you're happy with it at the end of the workshop, on the top right hand, there'll be a big blue button that says turn in. Make sure you click turn in. Okay. And then what that'll do, that'll submit it to me, and then I'll be able to go through it and mark it and give you feedback and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah. If you don't click turn in or submit, I can't see it. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. Sweet. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into workshop 1A. This workshop is all about sort of setting the initial consultation and sort of screening process for any new client. Now, obviously this is a very important thing that we need to do. Okay. Yeah. My computer runs a little bit slow sometimes, but I'll just pull up. So what I suggest you do, just get your assignment up. Okay. Then I'll pull up
I've got it up.
Notes. Yeah. I'll pull up the tutor notes and we'll just kind of go from there. So first sort of meeting with a client. So you're working in a gym, client comes in, they've essentially, are ready to start an exercise program, either working with you as a personal trainer, or maybe you're as a Cert3 gym instructor, just going to write them like a basic program. Okay, so we need to establish a lot of things before we get to the program. All right, and that's kind of what we're going to go through here. So what sort of elements before we start do you think might be involved with like a pre-screening sort of consultation session?
Probably getting to know them, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah, and specifically like that. So what sort of things might you want to know about a client?
What they want, what they want out of your program, their goals and stuff.
Yep, goals are really important. Yep. What are some other things?
And what type of training they might want to do, or what time of training it suits them, what days a week, how many times a week.
Yep, great. So likes and dislikes are really important, obviously, because you want to lean your programming, the things that you write, towards the things that they like, obviously. Giving them a bunch of stuff that they don't like, it's really simple. They just won't stick to your program. And fitness industry, the best thing is there's 100 ways to get a result. You know what I mean? You don't have to just give them stuff that they don't like. The other one, obviously, with time availability, really important. Are they busy? They've only got half an hour in a lunchtime? Are they a mum and they've got kids and they need to go to the gym where there's a creche, or are they only working before or after work? All that sort of stuff is really important. Obviously, other things like assessing their health risks. So looking at their medical history, looking at their injury history, looking at their exercise history is important as well, because that gives you an idea of are they a complete beginner or are they advanced? So these are the sorts of things we're going to cover in the next sort of 6 workshops.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
So let's have a look at the first question. So, okay. So first of all, we're going to talk about 2 methods of seeking feedback from members to know whether or not they are satisfied with their fitness experience and services received. So think about the concept of you're working in a gym, maybe you're reception at a gym floor. What are some sorts of methods that we can seek feedback from members? Okay. So as you can see here, there's two basic ways of doing it. The first one would be formal feedback. Okay, so you understand what formal feedback is? What might be an example of getting like formal feedback from someone?
Formal feedback.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure.
Okay, so formal feedback is something there where it's like written down. So like, if you put out a questionnaire, okay?
Yeah,
so
right.
That would be an example of getting some formal feedback, because the client has to sit down, they have to think about it, they have to write it down, and then you've got that written feedback from them. Okay?
Yeah.
So definitely feedback questionnaires are good. The benefits of those questionnaires are it gives the client a chance to sit down and really think about it,
Yeah.
and then they can really kind of formulate sort of their answers. Okay. Now, if that's formal, what would be informal? So what would be some informal stuff?
Would it be coming directly from the client?
Yeah, it would be. So like having like casual conversations with clients.
Yeah.
So asking them, oh, how did you like that exercise session today? Or are you happy with the services in the gym? Is there anything else that you want put in your program? Those sorts of things are really important. Okay. So informal communication is important as well, because you really get them to explain things in their own words, Yeah. What might be a disadvantage of informal communication?
A disadvantage? Maybe, I don't know, maybe them saying, not insulting you, but like, I don't know.
What if like maybe they don't feel comfortable fully explaining themselves in front of you? Because so like if they have a complaint, for example, they might feel uncomfortable about it, complaining straight directly to somebody.
Yeah.
So that's where you might. That's why sometimes a questionnaire is good, right? Third one
like
is
confidential when they can't see.
Exactly. Like, have you ever seen like suggestion boxes in gyms or businesses and stuff like that? Yeah. So that's what so that's another one you could write down as well, is like a suggestion box. Okay. So that's handy because it's anonymous, right? So people can really, they can really feel comfortable in kind of saying whatever they want to say. But what's the disadvantage of a suggestion box?
Well, is it confidential?
Well, if they don't put their name on it and you don't see who puts it in the box, it kind of is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess the word is maybe like anonymous as opposed to confidential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you ever worked in anywhere where there's been suggestion boxes?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you what. All you get on them are complaints, right? Because people feel comfortable complaining without having to complain face to face to somebody. So when you have a suggestion box, you'll get 90% complaints, 10%. Like people, like, would you ever stop and write a positive thing in a suggestion box? No, you'll probably just complain. So you just need to make sure that you understand that concept. Okay. So there we go. So as you can see in the question there, identify and explain. So you can't just write like suggestion box. You have to explain it. Yeah. Like explain how it could be used, maybe some of the benefits or the disadvantages with that. Okay. Just let me know when you're done with that one. Just because I can't see your work today.
Are you meant to?
Usually I can, yeah, but just because you're not on my system yet because it's the first session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but right. I will usually be able to kind of like see you go through it real time. Okay.
Okay, cool.
So just let me know when you're done with that question and then we'll move on to the next one, okay?
Okay. No worries.
All right, question 2. List and explain. So again, listing and then you have to explain it. 3 strategies to overcome the following training considerations which may arise in a fitness setting. So the first one is cultural. So how could you modify training programs to cater for religious and cultural beliefs? Okay, so can you think of an example for this one? It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
What about, for example, like if you have a gym or a fitness facility in a area where there's a large Muslim population? right? So do you understand, like, there might be some cultural differences there and things that you might have to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, for that one, it could be like if you have a gym that's in like a Muslim area, you may have to create, I know this sounds really backward, but you may have to have like a women's only training area. So,
Yeah, right.
for example,
Okay.
with that culture, men and women aren't allowed to exercise together. Okay.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah,
so you
yeah.
would need like a women only area. And also sometimes that just might, there are certain cultures where women feel they can't exercise next to men or something like that. So that would be an
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
example for a cultural one.
Yep.
Which you probably won't come across that very much. Another one
Yeah.
you don't have to write this one down is, do you know what Ramadan is?
I've heard of it, but I don't know exactly what it is.
So Ramadan is for the Muslim faith is where they have to fast for 40 days. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
40 days where they can't eat anything between sunrise and sunset. So if you have a client that's going through Ramadan, you may have to change their training sessions to either early morning or the evening so they can eat something before or after. So these are just some examples of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the next one is social. So how can we cater for the socioeconomically disadvantaged population? So essentially the people that have a low income. Okay. So if you were a gym or a fitness facility in an area that had low income, or if you're working as a personal trainer or a boot camp or whatever, what might be some strategies you could put in place for the low income people?
Maybe like a train now, pay later kind of thing, or like small amounts of money that you could like take off them a week or a month just to help them.
Yep. So you could be looking at like a weekly debit system rather than paying up front. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good example. Yeah. What about things like group exercise? What might be some of the benefits of group exercise for these people as opposed to say one-on-one training?
They could get a group of their friends or something, and then it'd be cheaper in cost because they're all like paying their half.
Exactly right. So if they're training in a group of 3, 4, 5, 6, they're paying 1/6 the amount of a regular session. Yep. So that's a good example. So those are just some examples that you would put for social, right? So weekly payment plans, those sorts of things, or even like monthly free exercise sessions for the entire community. They're always a good way to do it because you're getting people exercising, getting people active, and Good. Now the third one here is behavioural. So how do you motivate an individual if health and fitness isn't a priority? So you might have people or clients or people that that are just like, I don't really care about health and fitness, or I don't really want to stop smoking or eating junk food, or I know I'm 30 kilos overweight, but I just don't care, right? These are really hard clients to deal with, right? So what might be some strategy you could put in place for those type of people who just have like a behavioural issue with exercise?
Maybe that's a hard one.
Yeah, what do they need?
Maybe like they need a bit of motivation and maybe to be held accountable.
Great. Yeah, so they're really good things. So the first thing they need to do is they need to be motivated. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So they need to be held accountable. So that's where you could have like exercising in a small group or with a partner, or exercising with a trainer, or having a program specifically written out for them, because that keeps them accountable. And then the third one, which is an obvious one as well, is they just need to be educated on the benefits of exercise, right? Like some people just don't understand how exercise is going to benefit them. So if you can explain what it's going to do to their mood and their energy levels and their sleep and how they're going to lose weight and how they're going to improve their muscle mass, all that sort of stuff. Okay. So I think that a good answer there would have a combination of talking about like sort of motivation, education, sort of an accountability. Which should be, should be a part of kind of every program.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sorry.
I've got them.
Got those ones?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Let's move on then to the next one, question 3.
Yep.
Okay, so this one's a little bit dry and boring. So this one we're talking about like organizational procedures and policies, about treating members fairly, about complaints. So imagine if you're in a big gym, like you're working in a Fitness First or something like that, they're obviously going to have a set of policies and procedures that they're going to put in place to.
Yeah.
I can get this one big for you. It is to do this. Okay. So the first one is communicate. So there's going to be a little bit of like, unfortunately, copy and paste in this answer. Communication protocols. So we need to make sure that we have systems in place where staff can communicate to clients and customers. Okay. Yep. So how do we communicate with them? What tone, what language, all that sort of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And like, how do we communicate in a professional manner?
Yep.
Okay. So just put something there.
So like the tone of voice or.
Yeah, exactly right. So like tone of voice, how to deal with complaints. Actually, no, that's the next one. Sorry. Yeah. So just something like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. This might be a bit easier to see now. Hang on. So what's the next one there, Lexi, just while this loads?
It says complaints procedures.
Okay, yeah. So complaints procedures. So this is important, right? So this is about like, should be able to see a little bit better now. Okay. So this,
definitely.
okay. So this is just more about like, so this is all about like dealing with complaints and dealing with them consistently. So if you have a gym or a fitness facility, you should have a procedure that they have with dealing with complaints. So maybe there's a book where you have to write all the complaints down in, and then in that book it tells you what did you do with the complaint, where did the complaint go to, did it go to management? So as long as there's a procedure that deals with complaints quickly and consistently is important. So you don't want different people dealing with complaints in different ways, especially when you've got lots of staff, right? The most important thing there is to be consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is the customer service procedures. So this is like basically like thinking about like front desk sort of stuff, right? So you want a professional standard dealing with members, okay? So how we greet them, how the staff present themselves, staff presentation, greeting, how they answer questions, how they refer them to other staff members or trainers. So you want procedures in the whole customer service, okay? So just write a little bit about that there. Again, these are, there are parts of this course, Lexi, where we have to just kind of like tick the boxes with some of these questions,
Yeah.
So
I've kind of done something similar, like with the cert at school. It was kind of a bit similar, the way it's all been set out and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of copy and pasting at school.
There isn't a lot of that in this course, but just some of these questions there's a little bit of it, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you done that one, customer service procedures? Yep. Okay, so the next one is the reporting procedures. So reports need to be detailed and accessible to management. So if something happens and you have to report something, so if you report an injury, if you're reporting an incident, if you're reporting a dispute or a complaint, we need to make sure that management can see them. And we have to make sure that the reports are followed up and resolved as well. So if you're working on the gym floor and somebody complains to you, right?
Yeah.
Go, okay, I have to take this complaint to management. It's still your responsibility to follow up with management to make sure in a couple of days that complaint was dealt with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like your responsibility to see the whole complaint through sort of from beginning to end. And that's why it's just important that fitness facilities and gyms and businesses have these sort of systems in place. Okay.
Yeah.
The next one is obviously professional presentation of staff. So what might be some examples of professional presentation of staff?
So like wearing the right uniform.
Yep. So uniform, even things like hair and nails, and if you have policies on tattoos or visible tattoos or not, like it doesn't really matter. It's you're creating a consistent standard,
Yeah.
If you're a corporate gym or a high-end fitness facility, you may have your trainers cover up your tattoos. If you're a CrossFit gym or box and you're looking for that sort of backyard grungy aesthetic, you might not care. You know what I mean? But just as long as there's some sort of professional image, and especially with management, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that one. The next one is privacy and confidentiality of members' details. Okay, so what sort of information would you get about a member that you would need to keep private and confidential?
Definitely like their health issues.
Yep, so their medical status, yeah?
Yeah.
What other things?
Well, maybe like if say your client has just had like maybe weight loss surgery or something, that's definitely something you would keep just to yourself.
Yep. That's all part of like their medical and their health issues and stuff like that. And that's probably part of all their screening forms. Just think about it as like a business. What other information about that client might you have?
Oh, like their address and stuff?
Yeah, so their address.
And phone number,
email address. Also think about like their billing details. You've probably got credit card numbers for them on file. That's how they're, so all that sort of stuff is really important that it's kept privately and confidential, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what might be 2 ways in which you can keep that stuff private and confidential?
Like having, probably like on your laptop or something, but like having it so only you could see it.
Yeah, so like password
protected. In like a special file.
Yeah. So like password protected or online on a cloud-based software. So do you know what I mean by like cloud-based software? Because the concept is if your laptop fries, you don't lose all the information with it. It gets stored on the cloud, right? But it's still password locked and protected, you know. And then the old school way of doing it, which some gyms still do, is like the old lock filing cabinet, right? Information, the filing cabinet, lock and key, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So there might be that, that as well. Okay.
Yep.
Then the last one is effective record keeping procedures. And this is just making sure that you keep all information for 7 years for legal purposes. Okay. So, everything has to be kept for 7 years. All their screening forms, all their credit card details, all their incidents or complaints documented by every person, just in case there are lawsuits further on down the track or whatever, or the client requests that information back, they're allowed to do that for 7 years. Okay. That's just like a law standard.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's just an important thing to remember. Same with like your taxes. Okay. Suppose keep all your old tax information for 7 years and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So you happy to move on from that one, Lexi?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about dealing with complaints here, okay? So from time to time, clients will have complaints about your facility or service. Some may be valid, others may not, all right?
Yep.
So list 2 complaints. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you one, but I don't want us to use this one, okay?
Okay.
So, but I just want to show you kind of how we do this. So let's just say the first complaint is the member complains about other members spending too long on the cardio machine. So you might be in a big gym, all the treadmills are taken, and what a gym would do is they'll put like a 20-minute time limit on using the treadmills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just so that everyone gets to use them and people don't hog them and blah, blah, blah. So the first thing that you do with this complaint is you would document the complaint. So you'd write it down, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is it important to write down all complaints?
Because then you like can refer back to them and you kind of know what's going on.
Yeah, especially if you're getting the same complaint over and over again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you have a complaints log and you go, oh, wow, that's the 4th person this week that's complained about the treadmills, then you know, okay, we better do something about it now. Whereas if someone complains and it's like, well, we haven't had this complaint in 3 years, it's probably not a priority to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So document the complaint. Okay. The first thing you do is what immediate action can we take to resolve the complaint? So for example, for this one, we could go, okay, let's make an announcement over the loudspeaker to say, hey, here's a notice to all members. Just make sure you're not exceeding the 20-minute limit on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing you could do is you could put up some signs around the treadmill area, you know, and you could like saying, you know, time limit is 20 minutes on all cardio machines. You can even like program machines to stop after 20 minutes. There's lots of things you can do, right? And then you inform the member who made the complaint about what you've done. Okay. So then you go back to the complaint and go, hey, I just want to let you know, thanks so much for the complaint. We've done X, Y, Z, and we should see some improvements. Okay. So that's the concept there. So what I want you to do now is I want you to think of a complaint and let's try and work through it together. So what might be a complaint that might arise in a gym or fitness facility?
Maybe someone, like people not putting away their weights or something, and then
Okay,
being like a
tripping hazard or
dangerous.
or dangerous. Like there's nothing worse than like a woman who's trying to pull all these 20, heavy weights off squat bars, leg press machines, and there's a chance they might drop them, etc. Okay, so that's a good one. So that would be your first complaint. Okay, so member complains that other members aren't putting their weights away.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So what would you do? What would be the steps that you would take with that one?
So the first step I would do would be so you would like write down. Would you write down? Is this like to the client, or is this like?
No, this is the whole process. Yeah. So this is the whole process, right? So the first thing that you would do would be document the complaint. You would write it down. Yep. Okay.
And then you would think of an immediate action too.
Yeah. So what might be some of the immediate actions? Well, what's the first immediate action that you should do as a gym instructor? Like
would you move the weights yourself?
100%. Like think of the most simple thing first. So the most simple thing first is, if it's a risk, I'm going to remove the risk, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to personally physically put all the weights away, right?
Yeah.
But there's probably a few other things that I do after that as well. Okay. So, so that's that. So let's say after you put all the weights away, what else might you do?
You would, if you knew who the person was, maybe you could ask them.
Definitely.
Have a chat and just be like, this is what's happened.
Yep, definitely. So you might have an informal conversation with the person who didn't put the weights away to remind them of the protocol. Hey, just to let you know, if you could please, really informal. Hey, just to let you know, if you could please put your weights away when you're done, it would be appreciated. Just something like that. Really informal, not accusing them, blah blah blah.
Yeah, like just keep it cool because you don't want them to get angry.
Yeah. Look, unless they're doing it every single time, then that's a different story, right? But usually these things can resolve. Okay, so that's one thing. That's one long-term action you've taken to hopefully that person doesn't do it again. Yeah. What's another long-term action? So you've done the short-term action was you put the weights away. The long-term action is you've spoken to the client. Yeah. What's another long-term action you could do?
Like you could put, like you said, like signs up, like please remember to put your weights away when you're done.
Perfect. Yep. So that's another long-term action that you could do. Yep. And then what is the last thing that you would do after you've done all that?
You would go back to the person that complained and you would let them know like what you did. Like you spoke to the person that doesn't put their weights away.
So you just basically you
just reassure them.
You just inform the person that made the complaint of the actions that you took. Just to let you know, I put the weights away. I've spoken to the person that didn't put the weights away and they've agreed to put them away in the future, and I'll put some extra signs up. What's really important, and that's a very important part of the process, because when people complain in general in life, right? Because I've heard my hundreds and thousands of complaints over the years, is most of the time they just want to be heard. They just want someone to listen to them, right? Mm-hmm. So if you acknowledge, hey, yes, I acknowledge that must be frustrating. I'm really sorry that that's happened. Here are the steps. This is what we've done. You always give them like an outcome or a time frame.
Yeah.
You can't fix it straight away. Just to let you know, this is going to go up to management, but I'll have an answer for you within the next 1 to 2 days, and then you follow up, right? That makes all the difference. If you don't ever talk to them again, blah, 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 they just think that you've ignored them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one. Okay. So that's one complaint. Now, what might be another complaint?
Another complaint could be maybe, well, we've already kind of done a hazard. I was going to say, like, people don't wipe their sweat off the machine.
Yeah, let's try and go away from hazards. What about, I'll give you one. What about a client complains that the group classes are always full? Like they're trying to check into a yoga class and they turn up and the yoga class is already full, right?
Okay.
Okay, so this is a good one because this is probably takes a little bit more of a different approach. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about this one. So what would be the first sort of thing that you would do here, Lexi?
You would document all the complaints again. So you'd write down the complaint.
Yep, definitely.
And then what immediate action can you take to resolve a complaint?
So so what might be some actions that a gym might take to make sure that classes don't get booked completely full?
Well, they could start making like a second class.
Yeah. So the second thing, but before you do that, what I might suggest that you might do is to, if you haven't done so already, create some sort of pre-booking system for the class, so that like an online booking system, so that you know if the class is full or not, so you don't turn up and then realize the class is full. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's smart.
Yep. And then what I would do from there is then I would track that class over, say, a couple of weeks. And if that class is always full, then I would put on an extra class.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't put an extra class on straight away. Why? Because it might just be like a one-off, you know?
Yeah, and it might be one or two people and it's no point.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's the idea. So yeah, and if it's constantly being booked and 4 and 5, 6 people are missing out, we'll go, okay, maybe we need to stretch this out over to a second class.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely. So that's two things that we can do there. So put a pre-booking system in is the short-term action to resolve the complaint. Yep. The second one is to track that class over a month, and if it still remains full, consider putting on a second class. And then the last one there is obviously just inform, is just to inform the member of the complaint that you. Yeah. That's always the same,
Yeah.
And this might be one where eventually, management might have to get involved in going, hey, that's where you might escalate to management and go, hey, just want to let you know this class has been full the last 3 times. I really think we should put on another class, or whoever the gym floor manager is, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay. So are they all the questions for workshop 1A?
Yes.
Pretty easy, huh? Pretty straightforward. Okay.
Yeah.
So once that's all done, just have a quick read through them again. I'm just going to duck out for a minute. Make sure that you're happy with all those questions, that you've answered them in the right detail. See up on the top right there how it says turn in? Somewhere up there?
Is that when you exit it out of it and then it has it like on the bottom?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should be up on the top right somewhere. Have you done the takeaways for 1A?
Yeah, I have. It's got them on the sidebar, and then it's got I'll show you on my camera.
Yeah, sorry, just because I can't
see. Just
because I can't see your I don't have your.
I don't think I can show you. That's all right. Yeah, it's got hand in there, and I know it automatically saves, so you can exit out of it and then.
Yeah. That's perfect. Awesome.
All right.
Right.
Cool.
Okay. I'll just have one more look through those questions. Make sure you're happy with the detail. I'll be back in a minute, and then we'll move on to 1B.
No worries.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. How you going there, Lexi?
Yeah, pretty well.
Okay.
Just making sure it's all good.
Yep. All right. So you've done the takeaways for 1A as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, just not 1B because I forgot that we do 2.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. We might even get through a little bit more than 2 today. So whichever ones you don't get to, we'll just do them on your own time. Okay.
So the takeaways have to be done. Hey.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So before you submit that assessment, before you submit this 1B assessment, after our session today, make sure the takeaways are done as well, because I'll mark them once they're both done. So I'll mark the takeaways and the assessment together. Okay. So if you do that in the next couple of days.
Would you click hand in when you've done the assessment and the takeaways, and then click hand in, or would you click? Yeah.
No. So after you've done both, definitely wait till you've done both before you click hand in, because then I can look at them both together and just mark them off. Okay.
Yeah, I've done both of them now, so I can hand them in.
Yep. So click hand in there, and then we'll move to 1B. So